Hello. Make sure my mic is working here. It is. All right. Okay. So. Is my camera gonna work? I turned it on. Uh-oh. Cool. Oh, no camera. Oh, we're not going to worry about that. But we are back. And I am actually feeling okay. A minor miracle. Okay, so the first thing we want to do today is actually, well, all right, is do this frame. And I'm trying to figure out, I guess I want to bias it more towards the bottom than the top. Hello, Corey. Good to see you. The project today. Yo, Taxi, stopping by. It's good to see you. Always a good stream when you stop by. The project is this little animation I've been working on for a few months now. I've been really kind of going hard into like pushing the model. When I eventually animate this character more for like just general projects, I want to really try to simplify his shapes and make him a lot faster. But for this one, I've just been like, we're just gonna go like all out. Okay, so I'm gonna try to kind of like freehand this. That's a really big. Why are you so big? Try that. So smooth, yeah. Don't get used to it. It takes forever, so I'm playing on kind of being a little cheaper next time. But for just a good bit of practice, I wanted to really like get this to look good. For the fun of it, let's go ahead. I'll share the whole thing just so you guys know what it all looks like. But the plan is to do one more little scene with this character, little bit of animation with him, and then animate another character. So we're getting close to being done with this whole stretch. We just have like a handful more towards the end. As you can see, it gets just the keys there. Oh, I've been working on this over the course of months, so I would have had it done sooner if it weren't for the fact that I've been kind of in a bit of a recovery mode as far as like health and all that goes. I'm doing all right, just you know, post-surgery stuff. Gotta take it easy. But yeah, so what we're doing here actually is I was looking at the animation a little bit ago, last stream actually, and I didn't like the gap between this frame and this frame, so now we're putting another frame in there. It was too much of a jump. It was really bothering me. Stuff like that I won't care about so much down the line, just because like it is a little bit of more work to do stuff. But is this the right? Yeah, this is the right pencil. Like this, and it's not that big of a deal, but eh. This is Wicker. His name is Wicker. He's what's called a chimera. And basically what that means is he made up all these different like pieces. So that's why he has like the kind of bird legs and the hooves and the kind of bony fingers and stuff like that, and the horn. So he's kind of a bit of a jumbled mess, and so that's how he moves. That's the main reason I wanted to animate him, is I wanted to get an idea of how this character moves. Because he's so like awkward and lanky and all that kind of stuff, and that a lot of personality comes out in stuff like that. It's really fun to animate. The only downside is now you have to draw all the weird individual pieces and you know, make him look like he's filled with sand, because he is. So he's a little bit funny to animate. At least like all out like this. I want to go a little down. But yeah, he's one of 3 main characters for this story that are monster kids. I'm glad to hear that. That's what I was kind of going for. I was going for this very like kind of charming design. Up in the corner here, I guess I can go drag it over, is the turnaround, which I've actually since kind of not redesigned, but like there's certain things to his shapes, like the way his kind of chest comes up, that I've gotten better at. His arms are a lot more like, he was pretty ambiguous as far as his shapes go when I designed this, and since animating him, I've kind of nailed him down a little bit better, which is another big reason to do a little animation test like this. You really learn like to refine the character. A scripting class. That reminds me, I need to get back into writing myself. There's a written piece that I was working on. Do I want to have him start to open his eyes? Not really. There we go. But yeah, that reminds me, I want to get back into writing at some point. There's something I was working on a bit ago. Yo, what's up, Demon? Good to see you. Everybody's stopping by. This is awesome. I don't know how long ago. I'm still kind of in recovery mode, so I'm trying not to sit at my desk for too long. But I'll at least go for a couple hours probably. The hard part is gonna be the arm here. I'm not sure, because I may have to redraw the arm a little bit, because I planned it around this spacing. How I've been all right there, Demon. I've actually been doing all right, which is nice. Getting better slowly. Slowly getting back into a mode where I can stream a little bit more consistently, which is nice. Hope you've been well on your side. Hope everyone's been doing good. Taking summer classes? Ooh. Hopefully not because you're falling behind on anything. I remember I had to do, I think it was summer classes. Classes in heavy quotes on that one because it was online, and you know that basically means you don't learn anything. But had to because credit transfer is a friggin' stupid thing, let me tell you. So when I transferred my credits, I lost some of them because, you know, that's so necessary, and so I had to make it up through summer classes. So hopefully it's nothing like that, or if it is, it isn't too much of a annoyance. Hopefully it's a fun class. Let me... Excuse me. Ah, that sucks. Well, at least you got kind of a plan B going. Definitely annoying though. That's a lot better. That's gonna look a lot better. $100 humans. I've actually not been asked that question, but a lot of people really discredit how much 100 is. They do two things. They discredit how much 100 is, and they really, really, really overestimate gorillas. Because, like, gorillas are strong and all of that and everything. They're not as big as people think they are. They're like, I want to say, like 4 to 5 feet tall. Like, they're not like giants, you know, or anything like that. So like it was really funny. I was seeing that you know, debate come up. I'm just like, guys, gorillas aren't these like uber tank, like destroyer of worlds you think they are. And it's the same thing with like, oh, what would win, a silverback gorilla or a polar bear? It's like, brother, polar bears are 10 feet tall. Polar bears are giant. They actually are what you think gorillas are. So it was funny. I think that what's his name, Casual Geographic, talked about it and did a really good like dive into kind of the goofiness of it all. So if you want a pretty legit answer, I actually do recommend that video. It's a funny video. I recommend Casual Geographic in general. He's fun. Girls getting destroyed. Yeah, even without tools, you know, because that was a big thing. It's like, oh no, like no tools and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, okay, that's, you know, fair, right? You know, that's gonna give the gorilla a slight advantage, but it still has to deal with 100 people, like all at once, right? I mean, that alone would just scare the gorilla off. Gorillas are not that, like, combative. Gorillas are cool. They're, like, they're usually really chill, generally speaking. They're kind of more similar to, like, orangutans. Honestly, I would say a chimpanzee would be, like, scarier for 100 people. Hey, Guilty. Good to see you stopping by. I mean, maybe not, but, like, I don't know. I would rather... I'd rather like hang around a gorilla than a chimpanzee any day of the week. The entirety of National Geographic? Oh boy. That's an National Geographic's been around for a long time, unless you're talking about Casual Geographic, which still he's been around for a while, so he has quite a few episodes now. We don't want that. 1 chimp to 5 to 10 humans is a valid comparison. That, like, yeah, I don't know about that. You know, 10, like 5 humans probably couldn't take a chimp. I don't know. Maybe they could, right? Like, it's one of those things where it's like you have to like average it out because it's like depending on the circumstance, right? Like. That's what I always kind of find funny about the whole versus thing is it's like it always feels so definitive, like you know this character would win every time. It's like, well, like a fight can go a lot of different ways, right? Like you can have a really good fighter take on someone who's in theory not as good, and the not as good person win for like a myriad of reasons. Something like gets that right blow, the guy gets a little bit too casual with his you know, fighting or something like that, and like right place, right time kind of stuff, right? But generally speaking, I mean, chimps are just freaking scary, man. They're just like, as far as like apes go and all that, man, chimps are like beasts. They're scary. Ooh, developing a game. Sounds like a good time, honestly. It's also many times of humans. Yeah, that's another really big thing, right? It's like, what kind of people, right? Gotta put in the fact that most humans would run away. Well, the same goes for gorillas, though, right? Most gorillas are mostly they bluff, right? They don't want to really fight, so they like if there's danger, they're gonna get out of there, right? But a chimp, like especially if a chimp feels like cornered or something like that. Oh boy, yeah, you don't want to be there. Or like just it decides to get into a mood. And it's just like, oh boy, do I feel like killing today? It's like, oh boy. Oh, good marksman is taking down a gentle problem. I mean, yeah, if you had, you know, the technological advantage, and then that's as good as settled. We're not gonna worry too much about this horn. It's so quick. It's by so quick. This isn't even like a third. See, that's what makes like, or a 3. That's what makes 3s a little bit more challenging, is obviously you see the frame for longer, as opposed to a 2, which for those who don't know, basically all a 2 is it means it's 2 exposures. So if you look down at the bottom, we have 1, 2, same frame, and then we switch frames. 2 exposures, that means it's on 2s. So doing 3s means there's 3 exposures and so on, right? 1s is just 1 exposure. Most people, I think the animation works on 1s. It doesn't. People have been becoming a little bit more aware of that after the whole Spider-Verse thing. You're out of there. Yeah, I don't, man. I don't think there's much I can take on, especially in my current state. Okay, I want to... let's do... something like... will this work? Actually, I actually kind of liked it over here. Maybe even a little further. I want to think, kind of the difference of spacing with all of this. His legs kind of lead. Really discouraged using Eastern media and anime for reference because apparently animating on threes is more standard. That I'm not really sure I follow that because there's a lot of examples, at least I would think, of anime and Eastern animation animating on threes. Probably the military guy there, Taxi. I mean, it depends on, like, if we're talking like fist fight, he probably would still win. Three, you know, more numbers is a force multiplier, but like, if you know what you're doing, you're at a pretty big advantage. And if the guy is a legit like combatant and knows like how to kind of put himself into that mindset, he probably would be fine. Yeah, So were you animating more on, like, were you studying anime as being on twos? Like, the kind of, like, yeah, like, the way that I always kind of taught it to my students was, like, anime and Eastern styles, the way you have to look at anime is it's a refinement of really, like, just breaking things down to a very simple element, right? Super simple shape language, right? It can be detailed, it can be really complex and all that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, the whole mechanism behind the anime art style is you need like 2,000 people to be able to draw it, right? And so it's actually it's very efficient, right? It's designed around being efficient. And sort of the trap that you can get yourself into is when you study off of that reference and don't understand what goes on under the surface, it's kind of like how to put it, like, let's say there's a recipe, right, for like a really good cake or something like that, or a pie, or whatever you like, right? And there's this really good chef who knows what they're doing and is very experienced and stuff like that. And they look at the recipe and go, oh, okay, yeah, I know what this is about. They go off, they kind of pull their own ingredients and they don't use like half the ingredients in the recipe, and they make an amazing cake. And you say to yourself, oh, okay, that's really cool. I really like that cake. I want to do that. And you look at the original recipe, but you don't study it. You don't actually understand any of like what's going on in the recipe. And you say, I'll just do what they did, right? And so you grab random things, you try to throw it together, and you end up with not as good of a cake, right? That's kind of what it's like referencing just anime and going, yeah, I'm just going to do that, as opposed to actually understanding the fundamentals, right? But that being said, there's plenty of stuff within anime to learn and study that's very effective, very efficient. You know, it's not my favorite animation medium in general, like generally speaking, but I still give it regards in terms of like how it handles volume, how it handles like depiction of like energy. I'm not even talking about like you know, spirit bombs or anything like that. I mean like actual movement, right? That I would actually encourage people to study from a perspective of like study it in motion, study it from the perspective of the principals. What are they doing to kind of strip things back and be really efficient? Idea being, man, we're getting into some like awkward fight scenarios here. And we got like this poor kids and this poor dog beating each other up. Oh no, I mean, she didn't want us on 3. She said it was an anime like Disney or Blues. So 2s and 4s. 4s? I'd say 3s are more reasonable than 4s. That, I don't know, that's really goofy. Because if you can animate on, like, the whole point is so that you can animate however you want, right? Or, like, be adaptable, right? So understanding 3s is just as important as understanding 2s or 1s, right? Because what like animating on different frame rates comes down to is a really solid grasp of your spacing and your like your arcs and stuff like that. So if you have that, if you have really solid arcs and really solid spacing, primarily, I mean, it comes with everything, but primarily those, your stuff will look good, right? You'll have good control over your character and will be able to think of a movement however you want, basically. So I don't know. It sounds a little bit like old hat. It's like, okay, what jobs are there out there that Disney's doing on 2s and 4s that you're actually going to work on? Because most of the time anyway, like if you're going to go work for Disney, you're going to be a storyboard artist anyway, if you get in on anything 2D related. And if you're doing 3D, that's all handled digitally for the most part anyway, right? So, you know, that's all they really care about now is 3D anyway, so the teacher might as well have told you, oh, just go learn 3D. It's like, okay. Like, I'm not, but all right, thanks for your input. Honestly, unfortunately, it's kind of that mentality that I think killed 2D animation. Like, it kept 2D animation from adapting in the States when it really, like, oh man, like, it was so close in the 2000s to having a like new identity, if you will, and like could have essentially carried on the really cool legacy and history of American animation and art forward, but it didn't. It's really sad to me, but that's a whole discussion. Honestly, like that's a whole thing there, Corey, as well. Retired Disney vet, not to say that makes her more credible, but they probably drilled that into her when she was starting out. Well, and yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, there's a lot of like I said, I'm not a huge fan of like the anime art style. In fact, like, I'm really tired of the sort of pseudo anime look that like pretty much like the kind of mixed look that everything goes for now. But that's not a criticism of the technical like feasibility of it, right? Like the ability of that style, or what you can learn from it, right? I mean, I've not done like sat down studies of it and stuff like that, but I've kept in mind like how they, like, I've looked at pencil tests and things like that and just like tried to kind of internalize like, okay, how are you thinking through that shape? How are you playing with that energy and stuff like that in order to convey the idea? Because the more variety you have within your skill set, the more versatility you'll have, right? And again, like, the more you'll be focused on those fundamentals, and then you can draw however you need, however you want, right? So yeah, I don't much care for teachers who take stances like that personally. I find it actually discrediting when it's like, oh, you're a Disney vet. You should understand this then. You should be one of the people who's able to essentially demystify the prospect of the, like, I guess you would call it the pitfall of style, right? Because it's not about style, it's about fundamental. Like, you should be able to fundamentally take a style and work with it no matter what it is, however it works. Five minutes trying to get that perfect. Yeah. I don't really see it as like a superior animation style. I just like the tangibility of it, right? And especially as time is going on and whatnot here, people are merging 2D and 3D more than ever. But in general, but why do people use layers and not just draw on just one layer? You put everything on one layer, one mistake can ruin the whole thing. There is that. So funny enough, Taxi, in regards to that, I actually have gotten into the habit. I got into this habit a long time ago with painting, digital painting, because you watch like someone like Bob Ross, right? Paint his scenes and stuff like that, and it's all very quick over itself, right? It's called wet on wet, actually. There's a name for it. It's wet on wet, right? And you have stuff like wet on dry, right? Where essentially what you do is you let the paint dry kind of layer by layer and you build it up, right? He doesn't do that. He does wet on wet. He does it just as it happens, right? And essentially the equivalent of something like dry on, or wet on dry rather, is layers, right? Because essentially you don't want your previous layer to be fiddled with by the wet paint, right? You don't want it to blend as much. You want it to be a little bit more solid. So what that meant was I looked at painting in general, and I liked the look and the feel of something that more resembles the wet on wet style, where it's everything's blending together, everything's on the same layer. So a lot of my paintings are actually one layer, right? The main reason that you use layers, the kind of principal idea behind using layers is control, and being is control in different ways, right? So for example, let's say you want to do like some post-processing to an illustration or something like that. When you have multiple different separated layers of each individual like portion of your scene, you can take those layers and adjust them in certain ways to give special effects and stuff like that more easily. So it's all about control. That's the big thing. So yeah, there is a reason to use, but point being, to your credit, there's a reason to use one layer also. But yeah, so that's kind of the idea. It's fun though. It's kind of fun to think about that stuff. It's fun to bring like physical media principles into digital art and see how you can kind of recreate it, which can be kind of challenging, honestly. Like, for example, take for example, this animation I'm working on. So this is a first pass, right? This is another way that like previous like physical media used layers, right? So what you're looking at when you see an animated movie is not the original, what's called pencil tests. The animator would draw out his animation on paper. It was literally like hole punched paper that he would flip through and do all the fancy stuff with. And when he got it right, because paper and pencil you can erase, right? He would pass it off to the cleanup team, what's called the cleanup team, which, as a side fact, is what I did when I was working on that Lackadaisy pilot. I was a cleanup artist. I would take the rough animation, I would clean it up, right? And so that would be done. They would lay a celluloid piece of plastic, right? Plastic frame called a cell over the drawing, and they would then essentially draw and trace the finished line work, right? That the animator gave them, make it look really nice, right? That's how you would get that really dark ink look, right? Then they would pass that on to the color team. And this is where it got really clever. The color team would take that frame, and instead of painting on the front where the line work is, they would paint on the back of the cell. That way, if they made a mistake, they could erase it, they could clean it up and go again and not ruin the line work, right? And it would make sure that the line work stays above everything, right? So that's a way that they would use layers, if you will, in order to preserve the art as they would work and have more control over it. Because let me tell you, it sucks to do straight from, like, what would it be, like straight motion cleanup. And what I mean by that is you are actually animating as a cleanup artist. That sucks. You hate cleanup? I kind of fell in love with it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I actually kind of miss doing cleanup because there was something kind of like fun about just how chill it was. I actually really like fell in love with it in my last film that I was doing. It's friggin' tedious, and I'm gonna be skipping cleanup on this piece because it takes forever. Yeah, no, there's something about it that's kind of fun when you're in a team setting, I find. And then puppet rigs. Interesting stuff. This cleanup, yeah. No, puppet rigs are amazing. I love working with puppet rigs. I haven't worked with them a whole lot, but like I've done a little bit of puppet rigging myself for another project, and oh my gosh, it's really hard work, but it's like upfront because you have to really puzzle out the design and everything like that. But man, is it cool when it comes together. And it's actually a very good skill set to build up if you want to go into animation. Puppet riggers are not especially encouraged, I would say. They're not talked about very much, right? So not a lot of people know about doing rigging. So if you want to go, like, the technical artists are the ones who like really like have a good shot at like getting in good with a company or something like that. They always need tech artists to design how things are going to move more than anything. Don't trust YouTube. We have a whole 3 people here. Actually, I think you're on the phone side, aren't you? You have the vertical side. Yeah, there's not too many people showing up on that side. That's all right. Listen, trust me, I've been streaming to pretty much nobody for 10 years, so it's how it goes. But it's still fun. It's always fun when people show up regardless, despite it. We're gonna see how this works. Part of me wants to. What's puppet rigging? So basically, the way to think about rigging is, so in 2D animation, right? Like, you typically have to draw things out frame by frame, right? So you draw one frame, you draw the next. Basically, what I'm doing here, right? Because I'm kind of old-fashioned, right? And basically, what puppet rigging does is it allows you to construct a character using different pieces that then you essentially tell how it transforms and basically through a system of controls, you're able to get the character to look like they turn or lift their leg or whatever, right? And essentially, the idea is it makes 2D act more like 3D, because 3D you have a model and then you rig the model, right? And you give it bones and then it moves, right? It's basically that for 2D, but you have to be a little bit, I don't know about more clever in 2D, but like clever in a different way with 2D, because you're literally taking shapes and cutting them in special ways to make it give the illusion of dimensional motion, right? And you can get really, really sophisticated with it. Like, there are shows that like you probably look at and go, oh yeah, that's totally 2D animated. Like they probably did that by hand. And it's not, it's a puppet rig, but it's so well designed that they can get really, really natural, exaggerated movement out of the puppet rig. You AI? Who's bringing AI? The tech anime major of a school, 2D and 3D, and impressing with an AI major. Oh, fun. Oh, brother. Whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, like, kind of the transformation that's really going to ultimately happen is that animation is going to be going back into the hands of the creators. It's going to be rough because, like, you know, not a ton of money in it, right? Hard to make a living doing that, but ultimately, I do think that it's kind of going to be a good thing, not necessarily in the short term, but hopefully, eventually, essentially, what it's going to do is it's going to set up a new wave of creation, if you will. We'll see, though. It all depends. It all depends on how it really plays out ultimately. This needs to be lower, actually. It's tough for sure. For sure, they're demon. But very sad once you kind of puzzle it out. Once you really puzzle it out and figure it out and everything like that. Funny enough, let me go ahead and fire up my puppet rig here, just so I can kind of give an example. Hopefully this should work. I haven't opened this in forever. So it might take a little while here. This arm is gonna be the bane of my existence here for a little bit. I actually want to move it up more this way. Okay, did that work? Yes. Okay, oops. This over. I think this is it. I think. That actually does sound really nice, Corey. Don't let it get you down. Okay, so... Okay, I need to remember how my rig works. If this is even the rig. Okay, hold on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I gotta remember how this all works. Okay, so... I actually think... Is the test... Yeesh, I gotta remember. Oh, it's been so long. I can't remember where. So everything's done. Okay, so you have the pegs. You have in animation mode. You use is it this tool or this tool, or is it one of these? Okay, I think it's actually one of these. Okay. Okay, that's incorrect though. I'm on the wrong file. Hold on. Let me try opening up a different file. The way to kind of look at rigs is it's a lot of work up front, and then hopefully less work later on. I think there's a two open. No, okay. So okay, here we are. So you can kind of see like there's different ways that you can kind of maneuver the different bones and stuff like that, right? And this is all done with like cutouts and whatnot, right? So his helmet is a circle within a circle, right? And then this circle is being cut out by the other circle, essentially. That's all it is, right? But it gives the illusion as he moves that it's, you know, has this depth to it, right? Yeah. So that's kind of the idea. And then so the arms, for example, have bones in them that allow him to like move them around and like fold them and whatnot. Oh, there's a little bit of actually, I don't think that's an actual problem. That's more just a rendering issue. Yeah. But yeah, so that's a little bit how it works. It's a little hard to like, I legitimately don't know how to work this rig. It's cut off. Oh, sorry about that. You're on the phone side. Thank you for telling me that there, Corey. I'll make sure that you can see it here. Yeah, it's not in the perfect position for you guys over there. But yeah, so he's able to like move around and whatnot. And my goal with this was to make it so that like down the line it'd be a lot easier to animate him for projects and whatnot. He's not as versatile as I would like him to be. Yeah, my little Nemo guy. So eventually I'll do more with this guy. I want to finish up the rig and everything like that. But for now, it's just kind of on standby, like a lot of projects. Yeah, he's a good little lad. He lives on the moon all alone and builds his city up there. He's been doing it for a long time. Did you show your little Spider-Man? I don't think so. That does sound familiar though. I'm not sure. I'll have to check DMs. Feel free to send it if I haven't. Boy, his frame is taking a little bit of time. Sounds good. I'll check it out after stream. Let's see here. All right, I think that was it for that. Yeah, that was it for that album. Ah, gosh, I wish I could listen to Yoko Kanno on stream, but I can't. Or Toshiki Katamatsu, man. That'd be great. Let's do... I think I've caught up on everything Macro Blink, I think. Yeah. I'm kind of still in a bit of a Macro Blink mood, so keep going with that. Small, old-timey towns where the houses are next to businesses almost. Rendering abs is like buttering Hawaiian rolls. So that's an interesting analogy. Oh gosh, not Yoko Ono, no. No, no. I don't want to hear screaming, incessant screaming. Not my thing. But no, I have like tracks from the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex soundtrack in my like feed and whatnot. I'm just like, oh, really, Corey? Well, it just so happens I am working on a comic. Funny enough, actually, I am. Down in the description, if you want to check out a comic I've been working on for. Crap, it's been 4 years. Jeez. It should be in the description. I think I'm pretty sure it's the updated link. It should take you to where you can read all the latest issues for free. I've been wanting to get back to working on that comic, actually. That's not right. It's so bad. Let's see how it looks in motion. Maybe it's not so bad in motion. I'm trying to like really squeeze it in there. It's not the worst. Let me check the spacing. Maybe it works. Hold on. It would be nice if it did. But yeah, I've been working on it for. See, that's not right. I need to. I'm gonna need to change this, and I hate doing this because it just looks. It never works, and I'm just like, I can save time, and it's like, no, you can't. All right. Just the space, just a little bit of the spacing. I'm actually quite happy with this, how this is turning out, but there's little things, you know, there's little things. Actually, I think that should work. All right, team. Yes, Corey. The comic is just for free because, like, I was like, frick it, I don't know how to market this thing. I figured, I was like, no one's gonna read it if I put it behind a paywall. So either I just put it out there and come up with another means for it to like be sold later in a meaningful way, and then people maybe give it a chance, or literally no one's gonna read it. Eventually, what I want to do is a physical release and a digital release, technically, in case people can't get their hands on the physical release. That will have kind of like a bonus final chapter. So you'll be able to read like the whole story, essentially for free. It'll always be for free on the site, somewhere. But if you want that kind of bonus chapter and you want to own it as either again a physical copy or a digital copy, then it'll be sold eventually, one of these days. But for now, that's a ways off. So it's everything that I do is going to be free. I wish I got paid to make that comic. It's a lot of work. That comic is such an absurd amount of work. But it's so bizarre that I just like, it's like how do I sell this? How do I market this? And I was like, I don't know. I actually want that to go right in the middle, funny enough, because the foot kind of works that way. Still have a little bit of a boost up, that's all right. I'm just hoping to have this next part of Chapter 3 done by the end of the year at this point. Like, it has taken me so long to make any progress, but coming up here, I should be able to get back into a good groove and get back into the swing of things with it, and make some good progress this fall, especially. Which will be nice. And then there's just 2 more chapters before the final chapter. And chapter 4 is going to be really hard. The stuff I have in mind for chapter 4. Doggone it, why do I hate myself? Level 1. Alright, let's see here. Got a title for the animation? Wicker in the Box. Something like that. Or like What's in the Box or something like that. because you don't see it right now, but basically what he's walking over to and like kind of nervously like peering over is a box on the ground. And at the beginning when he jumps, the box like leaps up into the air. So it's like, okay, what's in the box? What do you guys think is in the box? What's in the box? Okay, it's not that. We're not going all 7 on this or anything. The golden ticket to Willy Wonka's factory. That'd be kind of funny. Not quite. Gonna get him some gobstoppers. Well, the saddest part is he can't eat. He doesn't eat anything. He also doesn't sleep. Well, actually, I don't know if he eats or not. Because, like, where he comes from, he comes from this kind of weird place. It's somewhere else, as he describes it. And there are things there that's called dream eaters. The dream eaters. Can you guess what they eat? But I don't know if, because Wicker's whole thing is he doesn't, I don't know if he eats dreams, or not yet, but he explores them. He's able to travel them. That's actually part of the reason he was made, sort of. I don't like that. Those tangents and junk. It is a little exaggerated here with the, but with the flick, I think it actually works. Because it's not the arm moving that fast, it's actually the hand itself. But yeah, Wicker doesn't actually have a body. He's literally right now just smoking sand. That's what's like inside of his little suit. And then like the little bits and pieces that he has are like to kind of make him corporeal. Until he's able to kind of hold himself together in the physical world. Because chimeras, they start out as what's called husks. There's these little husks that don't have anything going on. Is he perhaps you? What are you, a lanky little bag of sand? But yeah, they start out as husks, and then when they're in this state, they're called fawns. Now you want some Wonka candy? It's been long. Don't have it up north? Ah, that sucks. Dude, now I want to watch that movie. It's a great movie. It's one of Gene Wilder's best roles, man. What is he, Kirby? Hey, what's up there, Breath of the Video? Good to see you. Appreciate you saying hi. Never had a gobstopper before. They're basically just like the quote unquote everlasting ones are basically just like mini jawbreakers. Nocturnal and eat once a day. Whoa. You should probably put in another meal in there somewhere. I always say if you're putting yourself into a spot where you can only get like one meal a day, like you're so busy otherwise or whatever, then you might need to make some adjustments. My logic is if I am either too tired or too busy to cook for myself at the end of the day, I'm doing something wrong. That's my kind of rule. To be something as basic as that. Just as long as you're not starving yourself, though. They're not bad. Gobstoppers, at least when I had them, they're not bad. This is pretty linear. But that might... Well, you know what? Hold on. Let's draw it back a touch. And then down a little bit. It's enough. 2 meals. It's not the best, but it's enough. Technoblade. Maybe I've heard that name before. I think I have. It feels jittery, I think. Hold on. Let's move it back up. You know what? That works. Oh, dang. Doing some like catering and stuff like that there, Breath? That's right, he was a Minecraft player. Come on. Okay, and then this will do just this. Make it easier on ourselves. We're gonna short Oh, well, almost having one meal a day. Ooh. Not enough time in between breakfast and lunch. I would actually agree with that. I do think it's important to eat in the day, or in the morning rather. Eat in the morning and then have a late lunch, if you feel that way. Unfortunately, a lot of places, like if you're at school or whatever, can make it a little bit annoying to do that. But I space my meals out pretty far, right? It just feels better, and then I snack in between, make sure that I'm not starving in between it. But I'll eat breakfast and then I'll actually work, and then eat lunch after work, around 3 or something like that. Yeah. I'd say breakfast is really important, but lunch at noon, not so much. It's just kind of a convenient time for a lot of places. It's props to dignity. Okay. Okay, now that should look better. Yeah, that's a lot better. Oh man. It was really bothering me not having that extra frame. There's a little bit of pop there. It's not terrible, but it's there. Hold on, let me see if I can step through that and isolate that issue. I think it's right there, yeah. Gotta head out? Alright, Taxi. Take it easy, man. Appreciate you stopping by for sure. Hope to see you around. So it's because of that little drop there, but I also kind of like that drop. Let me watch it again. Let's see. I wonder if I'll keep it. Hold on. I'll keep it as it is for now and just worry about it later. Yo, what's up, doing stuff? Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and do another frame here. We can turn you on, and it should be all nice and synchronized. Okay. This one's going to be a little tricky. Okay. Let's go ahead. Do we want to do some place and trace? That's not entirely necessary. I just kind of... Let's see. Okay, and we're working on thirds here. Not threes, thirds. Again, thirds comes down to when you have two keys that are separated by by two insert frames or in between frames. Then you have to think about your spacing a little bit differently, because there's no direct in-between frame that you can kind of build off of. Sleep is calling you. It's 4 a.m. Oh, get yourself to sleep. That's late. I do appreciate you stopping by, though, there, Corey. Have yourself a good one. Dang it. That's annoying. I've been drawing in gray this whole time. I thought that the pen felt a little weak. Let me go ahead and do something to this frame. Do that. Oh, and I Not a huge deal. I'm gonna do that to this one as well. Now I can do this, and yeah, it's just going up. Actually, how does... So it pauses, and he draws it back, so he'll barely move it there. What's the blade do here? I may need to change that leg up. I don't know yet. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it'll look natural enough. That'll work. That'll work. Yo, Overload, how's it going? Animation Overload. Good to see you stopping by. Hope you're well. Yeah, I think I'll probably make this the last frame, and then we'll just have this long stretch to do after, and we'll have this frame to do right around here, and then this long stretch to do. Which this long stretch will be interesting because I should be able to just kind of like copy and paste this frame a number of times. I think. Or maybe like a previous frame. We'll see. I'll have to play that out. Oh. Got to do the line here. Probably should do this leg first. Honestly, I might be slightly more subtle than that. What do I have it doing here? So I have them straighten it out a lot quicker. Yeah, I kind of like that actually. Let's do that. Gotta head out. All right, animation. Catch you later. Honestly, I'm almost done here for the night myself, so we'll be finishing this up and then calling it a night on my end. I'll need to figure out the hands a bit more, because I don't like doing this thin little strip here. I probably will avoid that in the future because it makes it kind of difficult to do the hands. I'll simplify them down into kind of more of a geometric shape. We can try that. Might be a little jittery. Oh, I forgot to do there. There we go. Okay. Over here. Yeah, I think that actually kind of works with it, even with that little bump. I don't know. It's not too distracting, which is good. I gotta let something go. It looks pretty good though. I need to do the little lines on the everything. And then we'll call it a night. 75, yeah. There we go. And then the horn. There we go. Oh, got the sleeve. I may need to take away the lines. It's just... There's no way that I'm going to be able to be consistent about that. I do like them. They give them kind of this, like, kind of spooky kind of feel. Sort of this, almost, Jester-esque kind of look. Which I like. But it's an awful lot to have to keep doing over and over again. Which I knew. But we'll see. But yeah, no, the animation is coming along. The only other part which was a little bit stronger is this part here where he like kind of folds up. It just kind of stops. I'm thinking of adding some little like dashes to his eye, like looking around, just to add a little bit of movement there, because otherwise it looks a little funny. He just kind of stops. I think just some light movement in his eyes would help a lot. But it's coming along. Anyway, I'll be back at some point. I can't say definitively that I'm going to be back Thursday. It just depends on how I'm feeling, you know, pain-wise and all that kind of stuff, as I'm still in recovery mode. What was I going to say? What was I going to say? Hopefully I'll be back Thursday. That's what I was saying. Hopefully I'll be back Thursday. We'll see. I want to get more consistent, but as it stands, it just is kind of on an as-I-can basis. But yeah, hope to see you guys Thursday. Otherwise, I'll see you next time, whenever that is. And yeah, hope to see you there. Thanks for everyone who stopped by. It really was a lot of fun. And yeah.